I got interviewed for the first time today by a longtime friend of mine, and of course it's long-winded. She asked some very incredibly great questions, which really speak to who I am, where I'm from, what my purpose is. And I'd like to share that video with you today. It was made for the American Youth Horse Council at Kiawe, the Girl Scout camp in Sophia, North Carolina, and I was honored to go. I know I talk a lot, but I'm very proud of where we've all come thanks to you. I was interviewed today. I think we're making a difference towards positive education in the equine community and inclusivity with sizes and limitations and different ranges of goals and different ranges of riding, as long as it's positive and not abusive. So please show support by watching the rest of the video. Like and subscribe if you don't mind on anything and everything that I have, so I can pay my bills and keep going. I'd really appreciate keep going. I have so many goals and plans just for this year to bring you all education from people you might not be able to get close to ask questions of, and I'd love to be able to keep going. I thank you all so much for helping me get to where I am today, and I hope you enjoy this interview that Kathy Thacker and her team did with me this morning.
We are interviewing you for the American Youth Horse Council. As part of the Youth Committee's mission, we are collecting videos about various jobs that people can have in the horse industry, and so I'm just really curious about your job and what you do, but if you would introduce yourself and just tell us a little bit more about what you do.
Well, thank you for having me. Kathy and I have known each other for 100 years, but we've kind of grown up with each other, and we both are very interested in helping anyone that wants to learn, especially come into the horse environment. I am a dressage judge. I'm an L graduate. My background is in dressage, though I've done a little bit of everything, because I've always believed that the more we know, the better we can kind of bring it to what we're currently doing. So there's not a job that I will do that I won't do the opposite job. So again, if I'm in the barn, I'm a barn manager, I'm also going to pick the stalls just like you do. But now I run Mindset Equestrian on all social media platforms, as well as judging and clinicking. I feel like there's a huge void with people who are in either toxic relationships, don't know what they don't know, or heaven forbid feel bad about their own bodies and not worth it. Long-winded, I know. So I am a dressage judge. I am a dressage clinician, Western dressage. I also help implement or supplement within the hunter jumper industry as well to work on balance and suppleness. We're talking too fast. I'm a fast talker. But again, it's just education and feeling good about being educated. I always felt inferior in most rooms because I didn't know or didn't feel that I knew. And I feel the more we feel comfortable saying, "Hey, I don't know that, can you explain that?" the better off we're going to be. Or I don't feel comfortable because of my weight, and if someone goes, no, let me help you through that, then that's where I'm going to land.
Tell us a little bit about your journey through the horse industry to sort of this point.
Absolutely.
Because you've done a lot.
Yeah. So I grew up with horses. My family and I trail rode, and then we moved from one barn to the other, and it was an event barn, and so we evented, or I evented. I was the guinea pig who had to go over the cross-country jumps, but I always did well in dressage, and I was terrified of the jumps. I loved what dressage, the purpose of dressage. I was fortunate enough with the board barn that I had that they let me start a whole bunch of horses. There was always new trainers. Eddie Young, the quarter horse trainer. We had Ed, the horse trainer. We had a whole bunch of different trainers, as well as incredible vets and incredible farriers. And so I got to learn all the ins and outs of it, and knew I didn't want to go to college. Because again, I felt inferior education-wise, and I didn't want to waste anybody's money. So I got a scholarship to go to Germany from USDF and from several other small chapters of USDF, and as well as a little bit of saved money to go to Germany to the International Academy for Equestrian Studies, which is now kind of merged into something else. And then I came home and interned a ton, worked as a vet assistant for several years.
Tell us more about Germany. What an amazing opportunity for a young person. How old were you?
I just turned 18. It was right after September 11th. And I was really immersed, and I didn't know what I didn't know. It was an incredible experience just to be in Europe, to learn how everybody was just completely we trained every single day was next door to Ingrid Klimke's farm.
Oh.
And didn't know it, never learned, never went over and talked to them. Because again, I was young and youthful. This was also before phones were actively helpful. To be fair, there wasn't much social media. So going back, I would have loved to have explored more and done more. I really came back humbled and really wanted to deep dive into as much education as I could. I did do some college, but I went to work as a vet assistant, where I saw a lot of uneducated situations. And so education was really where I put my time and focus. I have a young daughter, she rides now dressage, she trains down in Florida. And I was a mother for years, and I kind of shut myself off to be a mother for years. I was in a bad place mentally, and I was just like, oh, I'm just gonna do for her. And so the past 2 or 3 years, what I've worked on is coming out and what do I want to be? Because I don't feel like I'm a rider the way that I used to be. I don't feel like I'm the trainer that I used to be. And I feel like for the longest time I told myself that's what I needed to be in this industry. And I feel like there's so many other avenues that we can fill the voids on. And so mine right now is educating and teaching people that they can, that it doesn't matter what your body type is, what your weakness might be, what your limitation, disability, I don't know what word we're comfortable using, might be, but we can all benefit from horses. For years, I thought, oh, this rider just comes out and grazes her horse. She's not working towards a goal. But my God, that's what we're here for, right? We love the sport, we love the horses. I love that rider just cares for her animal and spends time with it. So I want to really spread the message of feel comfortable with education, feel comfortable where you are getting educated, and love the horse, love the industry, and feel good about it. And remember, it's okay to come out and just groom, right? It's okay to just walk. That's fine. That is a goal within itself for a lot of people, and I really want people to understand, like, just go enjoy it.
So tell us a little bit, because I think the reason that you and I reconnected is because I was scrolling the TikTok like one does, and your face came up, and I was like, well, that's Karen. What's Karen doing on my TikTok page?
So how I got on social media, 2020, I wanted to revamp my business. I had Red Letter Farm at the time, and I had a satellite at the time, and I dreaded going to work every day. The love of the sport had gone. The passion had gone. I loved my horse. You probably know I lost 2 heart horses, and I can't talk about them. So I needed to kind of revamp my business, and my daughter was always watching YouTubes. There was a little British girl who just groomed her horse or just washed her brushes, and I remember not feeling like that was silly, and I remember thinking, oh, that's great. That's really great that she's teaching these things that I haven't even thought about for years of teaching. I also realized, and I hope my daughter does, maybe I hope my daughter does watch this, that she felt inferior in her own skin. And I thought, I need to take one for the team, and I need to go out and show her it's okay. If you don't feel good about yourself, just take the next step. And I'll take one for the heavyset girls, or I'll take one for the older ladies, or I'll take one for the ones that don't feel smart enough. And I want to put myself out there to let them know I didn't get hurt. I was surrounded by people who were willing to help me learn how to do whatever it was I was interested in doing. And I got to grow and help support other women or other small businesses, other men and women in our community. And that's why I just stayed with it. I feel inferior in front of the camera 100% of the time. But I also remember that there's generally a message that I can reach somebody who also feels inferior, who needs me to say, I can do it. If I can do it, you can do it.
So are you an influencer? Are you an educator? What is?
Some people say that. I am starting to get where I get to make connections. And so like my shirt that I'm wearing today is a BHN clothing company in Charleston, Young Girls. And then Distinguished Rider is also run by a young lady who wants to support all sizes. This shirt is all size inclusivity. Even when I had an eating disorder and wrote 8 a day, my calves never fit into a boot. And no one feels like they're the right body to be a rider. No one ever feels the right body anymore. And so what I get to do and with the social media is I get to like highlight situations like this that I didn't know existed, that I am so passionate about, you and y'all's program, and all, like M&M Tack Shop hat fitting. Let's share that with the world. How do we get it out? So I guess a little bit, I'd like to say that, but I am positivity based, positive education only. So sometimes as an influencer, that means I have to teach people how to respond without negativity, or respond to negativity without it really ruining your day. And sometimes we have to realize people are going through what they're going through, and hurt people, and it's just a keyboard click away for them to feel better about themselves. And if we can't guide them to a positive place, we need to keep ourselves in a positive place. So that's why I'm staying on the social media.
10 years ago, this wasn't a thing.
No, it wasn't. No. 2020 really did a lot for social media and influencers.
It did.
And marketing. And what it did was it showed the real riders, the real workers, the real inside of the barn. It got to show us inside the homes, inside of our lives. And that's what TikTok did in short increments. YouTube is doing, is it gave us the opportunity to instead of a modeled, although I know we set this up a little bit with our archery and our models, but this is still your barn. This is still where you work. We're still showing your archery. We're still showing like all of your tools and implements. They do a little thing where they talk to the juniors about what each body part is with the Breyer horses. So we get to see inside naturally, like this kind of conversation,
Right.
versus it being scripted. And I think people really were yearning for that reality.
Well, and just seeing what other people do in their barns.
Absolutely. Oh yeah, every barn's different.
Yeah.
There's not necessarily a right or a wrong way. I learn everywhere I go. Sometimes I learn what not to do.
Sure.
Absolutely.
Sure. I think, everybody has two lists in their head. And
Yes.
It's like, ooh, implement.
Yes.
Let's not
Well,
implement.
none of my riders think the same, learn the same, respond the same, and none of my horses do either. I'm sure the same for you all as well. And so the more broad my spectrum is and my toolbox is that I can pull from, redo, retry, revamp, refresh, and let me pull for some more tools and let's see what works best for all of us. Then we can touch so many lives, horse and riders.
Tell me a little bit about either advice you wish you'd gotten as a youth, sort of trying to find your place, and or advice you would give young people coming up who are like, I think maybe I want to make my career horses.
Don't prove anything to anybody. Do not prove anything. Don't put a foot in the stirrup when your body, your gut says this is not right. You don't need to prove anything to anybody. Take your time. Take your time with your training. Take your time with your teaching. Slow is best. I know I chatter too much. I taught one of the camera people today, and I just chatter because I want to get it all in, and I was taught to talk, but slow is best. And if you don't feel right about it, please don't go home in the hospital. Please go home thinking tomorrow what I'm going to try is. I think a lot of us feel like we're in a hurry to prove something. Sometimes our clients or our big money clients make us feel like we have to prove something. So setting that boundary also is very good to say, this is not right. And as a business person, these are our boundaries for a reason. These are our standards for a reason. They keep us, our riders, and our horses safe. And I feel like when you're growing up, you're much more willing to do things that aren't right, even abuse things that aren't right. Because I will say, I've been abusive. Of course I have, because I didn't know any better, or we don't know what we don't know, or I was following somebody else's guidance. Sometimes we learn by doing, unfortunately. I would say be as safe as you can, go as slow as you can, set those boundaries, and be willing to move them around. Don't get stuck where you are. Don't get stuck with your label. Be willing to say, hey, I'm not a trainer right now. I can't hold the barn anymore. I need to go and live a good, safe, healthy life. Maybe being a traveling instructor, which is also something I do. And that's okay. Keeping yourself really on the forefront. There's several different things I gave you there, but I had really great support growing up. I really did, and a ton of education. So, and that not many people get that. But setting those boundaries and saying no. I mean, I'm saying that with crippled hands, a little bit of a head injury, my back, because I didn't say no enough. Yeah, I didn't set those boundaries.
Well, and I think something you've said several times but haven't said explicitly is just an eagerness to learn.
Yes.
And just being in the place where the things are happening and asking questions, and it's surprising how many people are willing to take their time and talk to you. And
the interviews I've done just by walking up and saying, hey, do you mind if I do 3 quick questions with you?
Right.
And they're absolutely.
Yeah.
and they're willing to do it. And Doug Payne recently gave an entire dinner where he said, go ask people. Don't ask people when they're busy. Ask their assistants or whatever, and they'll give you the time. They'll give you the 5 minutes, and they really, really will.
Something we're trying to teach here is when to ask a question.
When to ask is good. Yes. Don't disrupt a ride. But yeah, sometimes these guys don't know you're asking their team members, and sometimes their social media isn't run by them. So just chat with them. Hi, do you mind if, excuse me, please? Yes. And by the way, if they're not friendly, they might not be willing or worth the interview. Most of them will say, can I get you later? Can you? Most of them will put you off if they're having a rough time, but if they're not willing. Right.
Do you have any thoughts on trends in our industry or social trends?
So right now I feel the trend is finding abuse.
Okay.
And there's a great and a bad to that. I think it's very easy to find abuse, but not understand why. So I think we need to be educated on to why. There's a lot of stuff that I use with a few horses here and there as needed, bits and or training implements that are considered abusive. And I feel like, and I can't share it. I cannot share it. But I feel like the more we kind of understand the why and the how and the timing of it, the less it's abusive. And the more we can learn like what are signs of abuse on the horse. The cute pony we worked on today was kind of, he didn't want chatter, so we just stopped for a second, and then he showed up for us, right? And not that we were being abusive in any way, shape, or form, but what I think the greatness is people are finding abuse and are anti-abuse, but then it also goes to that other extreme of, but what is abuse and what is abusive, and you know, where are boundaries, and how can we learn about what this is and how this might work for this horse but maybe not another, or this rider but maybe not another.
Right. I feel like our industry, parts of our industry, we're not ready for spectators, you know, for people to see everything.
Fair.
And,
Yes.
and have been sort of,
Well, a lot of times I hold back too, because some things I do are feel-based or timing-based, and I don't want to send someone home that I might not have filled out all the questionnaire enough, and they do something and the horse gets hurt or they get hurt. And so that's why a lot of trainers are reluctant to go ahead and give that information out, to be fair. But yes, I think we all want to learn and grow, and I think we all want to do as much right as we can by ourselves and our horses. But yeah, we aren't quite 100% ready for a huge crowd all the time, because we're not going to be able to answer all the whys.
yes, there's a lot of whys. Well, is there anything else you'd like to share about what you do?
Hopefully I will just keep growing. Again, Mindset Equestrian, www.mindsetaquestrian.com. I have several different monthly subscriptions too, where we learn monthly, but we also do it privately so that we can discuss things safely in a safe environment. But I want to continue to grow with the community. I want to keep spotlighting and highlighting stall pickers and water bucket cleaners and all the important jobs, and I want to highlight the people that just love their ponies and the therapy programs and the archery. I can't do archery anymore, my hands just completely give out. And the chiropractic side of it, and when is pain, and a lot of people don't realize that stoic can also be painful, and I think that's where my abuse focus really is like, that's abusive because we're not hearing the horse. That's what I want to keep going with, is the education and highlighting and spotlighting other equestrians that are wanting to educate and embrace the community.
And you're doing it in a really innovative way. I think, you know, we're used to riding instructors coming to us.
Right.
And that's not feasible for everyone.
Right.
And we're all so busy and everything is so complicated. And so that you have so many different options, I think is just really, that's just, you're growing with the world.
I get to travel too, so I get to travel to all these places I clinic, giving speeches, having conversations. I wish more people did the covered dishes. I really, really wish more people did videos on how to handle after a fall. What are the scenarios that need to happen for safety of the person who fell, to get 911 in here, please turn your sirens off, please get everybody where they need to go. And I really want to spotlight that. I'm just not a very good actress. We're having dinners where we bring other instructors in and just discuss just listening to the rooms where instructors or judges are talking. And I mean judges across the board, because you know, I've already mentioned Cindy Young, the amount of judges that we know just from being at the board barn we were at, we all still have the same fundamentals and the same passion about our horses. Most of these big trainers will turn over horses that aren't good enough for their ring to other rings, so that they aren't abusing the horse. Just to listen to those conversations is amazing. I wish more people would host covered dishes, maybe throw some gas money at these people. We'll come. We're happy to educate and to help people gain knowledge and comfort within our community.
Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you for having me. Thank you guys for having me. No, you've always been an inspiration to me. You've always been so kind, and the therapy programs are always they're always organized, kind, and embracing. You're not going to turn people away, and I love that. I love, and the horses love it. Most of them. There's always one that's a little sassy, but I love that.
We all have
I
our
truly
days.
do. Please say where we are again.
So we are at the Circle C Equestrian Center, owned and operated by Girl Scouts Carolinas Peaks to Piedmont, and we are home here at the Kiawe Program Center, which is a very large Girl Scout camp
In North Carolina.
in Sophia, North Carolina.
Sophia, North Carolina. Kathy Thacker, Karen Fulcher, Mindset Equestrian. Thank you all so much.